Words have no meaning. Words are just words until action is shown. Action gives words meaning. That's it, guys. That's what it is. Actions do speak louder than words, but why? How can I get that in a format of saying it to where the listener hears and are like, oh my God. Now that makes sense. Actions speak louder than words makes sense, but it's kind of redundant. It's been said a lot. But I've never heard it said the way I just said it, which is words have no meaning until action is shown. Action is what gives words meaning. Think about that. I had never heard anyone say it before. I'm sure someone around this very large world has said that before, and it just hasn't made it out there, social media, but I've never heard it. Hello, Janna here. Thanks for tuning in to Revive with Janna. Hey, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who listen, who tune in, who share my podcast. Just thank you so much. If for some reason you haven't yet, make sure that you have subscribed, have liked, download all of it. In fact, if you like every episode, it really helps me a lot. I noticed that too with podcasts I listen to on YouTube. I make sure to like every single one of them because sometimes we're just like, well, yeah, we listen to them. Like that every week I listen. I know every Wednesday. And so you listen. If you're on YouTube, it's Thursdays. But sometimes we forget to hit that thumbs up, right? So give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Download all of it. Just not on YouTube, but every single podcast platform. It helps me out so much. And I know I reached number 4 in the United States, Apple Podcasts and Nutrition. I've gotten up to number 14 in mental health. And I'm not done. I'm going to keep on going. So today what I want to talk about, guys, is actions speak louder than words. And we've all heard it. We've all heard that actions speak louder than words. In fact, sometimes you're just like, it's so annoying. I used to say more of a words of affirmations, like, what's your love language? I used to think it was cheesy, and I didn't quite get it. And I thought, well, let's see, if I had to pick out of those, it would be words, not actions, words. But I used to think actions was something so much differently when I was younger. My first relationships 20 years ago, I used to think actions was more about something monetary, right? Because I'm like, well, that's great, but if they can't tell me that they love me, I don't think that at all anymore. It's quite the opposite. But I've learned a lot, right? If you've read my number 1 bestseller, Unfuck Your Mind, you're well aware of all that I've gone through, all that I've overcome, the limiting beliefs I've shattered. That's why I'm sitting here right now talking to you. That's why I'm a mindset expert, a narcissist expert, a nutritionist. That is why. And my main focus that I love to focus on, my fire, my passion. I love nutrition. It's still one of my passions, but my fire, it's mindset, it's relationships, mental health, narcissism, getting the fuck out of your own way. And what I see is, because I'm an observer, I love to observe. Sometimes people call people watch, but I'm not looking at people just like, I want to make fun of them. No, it's more about it's observing, and it's not just that I pick someone out. It's more about like, when you're out and about, sometimes you just notice things in relationships or with other people and their, person they're with. Or maybe it's just someone a couple that you're around. And you cannot notice something unless you're either in it yourself or you once were, but you overcame it, right? It's easy to spot something that you're in or you have been in that other people are experiencing. But when you do the healing, you see it from such a different perspective, outsider looking in. And then you realize, well, gosh, when I was that way, anyone else that had done the healing, they noticed that in me. You start to see it, right? Full circle. So, YouTube watchers, hello. I'm going to look at my notes for a little bit. So I wrote the other day about that. Sometimes it's about finding a different way to say it where people understand it. Everyone's heard of actions speak louder than words, but that's more than that, right? We've all heard it. Most of us have said it. Some of us live by it. I do. I live by that. But words are also important because words kind of are. I call it a bullshit meter. And if you follow me on Instagram, thank you for that. And you probably saw my reel I made not too long ago about this. If you don't follow me on Instagram, what the heck are you waiting for? Go to Instagram and follow not Revive with Janna, Revive by Janna, the big account. Over 100,000 followers. And guess what? I'm trying to grow there too. So, hey, follow me. If you like me, share it with your friends. But anyways, how do you know if someone's sincere? Oh, they told me they love me. Guys, I've been told I was loved before by someone, the same person that abused me, physically, mentally, and sexually. So, hey, sorry about that. Doesn't go very far with me. I also was told that, hey, I love you. I would never do that to you. I would never hurt you. I'd never cheat on you by my last one, my ex, who was having an affair, with a 21-year-old for a few years. So excuse me if I love yous and I would never hurt you. I would never cheat on you. It doesn't go too far with me. I don't give two flying fucks. I remarried again. Never thought I would. And my husband, he knows that. He knows that. And it takes a strong man to be with me because I'm more manly than most men, right? I can do so much stuff like around the house or with cars or whatever because my dad, thank you, Dad, he raised me that way. Tom girl. But he raised me that way to be able to take care of yourself and not rely on someone. Well, I'm very glad for it. I don't mind being the handyman of the house. I don't fucking mind it. But a lot of men, I would probably make them feel a little feminine. That's okay. Their femininity makes me feel more masculine. And women and men, women naturally have masculine energy. I just have a lot because I'm very strong and I speak my mind, but I do that in a very polished way. Some people say, I speak my mind. No, you gave yourself an out for being rude and disrespectful, and then you don't have to own it. That's not what I do. But anyways, it takes someone who's super, super comfortable and confident with themselves to be around someone else who is, especially if it's a woman who's very confident, like myself, a lot of masculine energy, independent. I don't need my husband. I want him. Before I did the healing, I needed that because that's an external source that I need to fill this emotional void. I need that. I need them to make me happy. I need that. And when you do the healing, you're like, I don't need anyone. And I don't need one motherfucking person except my kids. I want to my husband. If I ever need him, something's gone wrong in here. Right? It's like, oh, that doesn't, he probably doesn't like to hear that. Well, then you need to do some healing because those that have healed, you're like, that's exactly right. Amen. If you haven't done the healing, you're like, that's not very nice to say. I think you could have said that better. No, why don't you go do some healing? Because the person you're with, you probably need them. It makes you needy. You depend on them. I don't depend on anybody except my own fucking self. Right? And I don't put up with a lot of shit. I don't need a lot of people. When you do the healing, you don't need a lot of people around you. I just don't. My circle gets smaller and smaller. And you start to realize things as I get older. Like, you know what? Why are we putting all the effort in over here? Right? I don't care if it's a fucking tradition. I'm not putting in effort for any motherfucker. You can be in their life. I get to choose. I told my husband that from the beginning. I'll never take you away from your friends or anything else. But if for some reason I feel uncomfortable or I sense something you don't, because I have a very strong sixth sense that, God, would have listened to that during that affair, the last one. I'm like, if I step away, I step away. It has nothing to do with you. You get to still, be with your friends and do things like you did before me. I don't have to be there. This thing of like, I need you with me. No, you don't fucking need me with you. And my husband's cool with that. He also knows that if I ever feel something around someone, there's a reason it's legit. And it's not based off of my feelings. It's something so much bigger than that. Those of you with a really strong sixth sense, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, let me go back to what I was talking about. All of this I'm saying because it plays into what I'm trying to say is actions speak louder than words. And I was having a hard time and I was writing this down. Just always hold my scribble over here, my little journal. I was just writing. I was like, okay, there's got to be another way to say this. Actions speak louder than words. And it always happens when I'm either talking out loud or I'm writing, which you know how many times someone in my house is like, oh, I thought you were on the phone talking to someone. I'm like, I was talking to myself. um, which I used to be weirdly uncomfortable about, but not anymore. So what I wrote was, words have no meaning. Words have no meaning. Words are just words until action is shown. Action gives words meaning. That's it, guys. That's what it is. Actions do speak louder than words, but why? How can I get that in a format of saying it to where the listener hears and are like, oh my God. Now that makes sense. What word actions speak louder than words makes sense, but it's kind of redundant. It's been said a lot. But I've never heard it said the way I just said it, which is words have no meaning until action is shown. Action is what gives words meaning. Think about that. I had never heard anyone say it before. I'm sure someone around this very large world has said that before, and it just hasn't made it out there, social media, but I've never heard it. And if I'm the first one, well, that's, hey, that's awesome. And I'm very grateful for that. But I'm just a vessel, and I make sure that I am always relaying the messages that need to be relayed from the universe to you guys. That's my job. That's what I do. And I really have embraced that. And when you embrace it and you just say, universe, what is it that everyone needs to hear? How may I be of use? What is the message? My messages are sent to me, and I relay them to you the best I can. But I don't struggle with it anymore with actions speak louder than words, but like, how can I say that better? How can I say that to when someone hears it, they're like, oh, wow. And you think about maybe that significant other in your life, the loved one, and you're like, she said actions speak louder than words, but what she said after that, I'm starting to see that person hasn't done it. It's the same fucking thing. I'm still saying the same thing, but now I'm saying it in a manner to where you can actually look back and reflect and say, whoa, this person's not doing that. It sets a little different. It makes you think. It also really shines a light on what you need to see in life. And maybe it's on yourself. Maybe you're like, whoa, I get it now. I've been telling my partner, my wife, my husband that like, hey, I love you. Like, my gosh, you make me happy. But why would they believe it? I haven't even been showing them that. It really puts things into perspective. And I am so grateful. This was only like about 4 days ago that it hit me. I was actually talking out loud. I was actually talking with my husband. We were talking about just things that we've gone through, just having a really good heart to heart about like just life. And he always loves to just hear my mind and my stories, which I absolutely love. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know why you want to hear me say that, but he does. And he's not insecure or sensitive about, I'm like, but that has to do with another part of my life. And he's like, it doesn't matter. I want to hear it because it's you. And I was actually talking about kind of how it all came about with that. And I was like, man, I used to think this. And like, I can't believe I did. That actions are not that important. It's words. And I was like, it's mind blowing. And I was talking and I said it. I looked at him. He was like, write it down. And I did. And I wrote it down that, yeah, actions speak louder than words, but why? So I'm going to leave you with this today. I respect your time, by the way. And I don't really know what else I could say on that. I kind of prefaced this whole thing in the beginning, in the first, 10 or 12 minutes to get to what I said, that words have no meaning until action is shown. It is the action, given or not given, that give those words meaning. So if you've heard a lot of words, but the action's not there, then they didn't mean it. Let me know what you think about today's episode. If you have any questions, a story, something to share, I would love to. I'm gathering them all up, and I'll be sharing them soon. All right. Talk to you soon.